Thank you all for being here. So many wonderful humans in this room already. And many of you I know, some of you I've never met in person, so welcome. You've probably been getting emails from me. So thank you for letting me fill up your inbox temporarily. But you are at the Covve and Connection Crew Workshop, Prioritizing Social Health, the workout plan for strengthening connections. So why are we here? Well, as I mentioned, this is a workshop on prioritizing social health. It's the workout plan for strengthening connections. And really, welcome to your social health gym. We're here because we're here for a workout, and we're experiencing a loneliness epidemic. And each of us in our own way is hitting the social fitness gym to improve how we connect and foster a sense of belonging with each other and in the workplace, for example, a lot of us. And as the Surgeon General pointed out in his report, the lack of social connection increases the risk of premature death as much as smoking up to 15 cigarettes per day. I would love this group to replace that with a social health workout plan and add thriving years to each other's lives, not take off years of their lives with isolation. Now, there's a few takeaways today. One, our goal is to share and spread highly effective connection exercises that are going to help your respective communities connect with each other. So something that you can take away. You're all connection pros in your own right. And there's 3 exercises today that can be added to your own workout routine, whether that's personally or professionally at work or with your communities. Now we'll share each of these processes. I mean, you're going to do them today, but we'll actually share them afterwards as a resource so you can take them easily and implement in your groups. Today's only one session at the gym. So if this is your first visit to the social fitness gym, the exercises may feel a bit hard. You might be a little sore, but just like the gym, consistently prioritizing connection moments will build your muscles, and soon you'll be hosting dinner parties. Now, how this will work today. We have a jam-packed session. We follow an I do, we do, you do format. So each panelist will introduce their activity, tell you about how they do it. Then another panelist will do it on display in front of everyone. We'll put them in the hot seat. And then we'll go into breakout rooms where you'll do it with another, one other person in the breakout room. So it's important in the breakout rooms that you are fully present and ready to go because we have very little time. We pack a lot into 1 hour. And so you need to be present with your video and audio on and be able to connect with that person. This is not for talking heads, as you can imagine. This is a workshop where you'll both learn what the panelists are teaching and feel it in action with the goal of developing at least one new friend by the end. I'm happy to introduce you to my friend and my boss and the person who makes this experience possible, Giannis, the CEO and co-founder of Covve. Let's get you on the spotlight.
Hi, thank you, Hansen. Your colleague. Thank you, Hansen. And thanks to our panelists, Kindra, Brian, and Sarah, for being here. We all share a passion for bringing big people together and for building real relationships. Actually, this is the reason why Alex, my co-founder, and myself created Covve. That's why we founded Covve. Just to give you a very, very, very short story, we used to work in London in large corporates. I come from a very small place, from Cyprus. It's a place where we really treasure relationships. So it came very natural to me to actually create relationships. And I very quickly realized that they were very important to my career, but also to my life. So we founded Covve with a purpose of actually helping people build real relationships. And we do this through education, like through sharing tips from experts like we're doing today, and tips and exercises, but also through tools like a relationship management tool that Hansen mentioned, the gym, like an exercise app. We help people actually make it a habit of reaching out, understanding how well they're doing in this, and making sure that they are very good at building and investing in their relationships. Now, personally, I've always enjoyed connecting with people, so I'm really excited to be here. I also appreciate what it's done for me personally, both in my life and career. So it's really frustrating to see that relationship building is becoming very transactional to the point where we're facing a loneliness epidemic. So that's really alarming. So I'm really keen to be doing this and to have Kindra, Brian, and Sarah share some knowledge on how to actually invest more into our social bonds. So thank you all for being here, and back to you, Hansen.
Thanks, Giannis. The first activity is I guess I'm not going to hide the fact is I'm very proud to co-create something for the first time with my partner, Sara Schairer, the founder and executive director of the nonprofit Compassionate. So Sara, let's bring you on the spotlight.
Hi there.
Welcome. So can you just do a brief introduction, let the world know who Sara Schairer is?
Yes, and of course, this is the time that my dog decided that it needed to bark. So my apologies if you hear that. My name is Sara, and I'm the founder and executive director of the nonprofit organization Compassionate. And our mission is to inspire compassionate actions and attitudes. We do that with people of all walks of life all around the world, and organizations, and with individuals.
Why is this topic today specifically important to you?
Well, of course, I care about creating a more compassionate world, and this loneliness epidemic really concerns me. A big part of compassion is being connected with people and having people that we can reach out to for support, and also being able to support other people in our lives. So this matters to me a lot.
Thanks. Now, I'll go ahead and let you take it from here. I think the group's in for a treat with Sara's activity.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to be guiding you all through a partner exercise. And it's very simple. You will be asking your partner the same question repeatedly until we tell you it's time to switch. And that question is, what do you appreciate about yourself? So you're going to ask the question, what do you appreciate about yourself? The person will answer. You say thank you. And then you ask the question again. What do you appreciate about yourself? The answer, you say thank you, and it keeps going for a couple of minutes. This is a great exercise because it helps you, of course, connect with someone else and learn how to be a good listener. You're not interrupting. You're not, asking any follow-up questions. You're just listening. And if you are the one in the hot seat, it's a really good opportunity to think about the qualities you possess that you appreciate. This isn't something we do very often. If I said you have 2 minutes to talk about something you don't appreciate about yourself, you'd be like, I need all day, right? But we don't very often highlight the things we appreciate about ourselves. So that's what we're going to be doing.
Let's go for it. So do you want to share quickly maybe a quick synopsis of what that looks like for yourself? And then we'll bring in Kindra, and Kindra could be in the hot seat.
Okay, so if I guess I'd have to play both roles, but I would say, hey, Sara, what do you appreciate about yourself? And then I would say, thanks for asking, Sara. I appreciate that I'm friendly. Thank you. What do you appreciate about yourself? I appreciate that I learned to play the guitar. Thank you. What do you appreciate about yourself? So that's how it would go.
Awesome. Let's put Kindra in the hot seat.
All right.
Or we can just do 1 minute with Kindra. We don't need the 2 minutes of Kindra.
Okay, great. So Kindra,
I'm nervous in the hot seat.
What do you appreciate about yourself?
I appreciate that I am continuously trying.
Thank you. What do you appreciate about yourself?
I appreciate that I have a passion for caring for animals.
Thank you. What do you appreciate about yourself?
I appreciate that I am always searching for new answers and resources.
Thank you. I think we get the gist at this point.
She had 24 seconds to go. You let her out easy.
I think we get the gist, right?
All right. Let's, Hennessis, are we ready to go to breakout rooms?
Yes,
So
we're ready.
now you all get to try this for yourselves. Again, it's only going to be 2 of you in the breakout rooms. Yep, go ahead, sir.
Also, just want to make sure, please, when you get in your breakout room, introduce yourself to your partner to kick things off. And also, I'd like to just say, how about the person with the shortest hair? You'll be the one asking the question first. And then we will let you know when it's time to switch. So we're going to give you 2 minutes per person. But please start off by introducing yourself.
Sara, do you want to welcome us back and lead us through a little reflection on that?
Yes, welcome back. Good to see you all. I'm curious to hear, how did that go? Anybody willing to maybe raise a hand and unmute and share what that experience was like? What stood out? And I can't. But please.
It's awesome. I love it.
Tell me why.
Sorry. Because I'm just so good at it. And it's really fun to see people smile and engage with me. I love it. Sorry, I jumped in. Dan, go.
Oh, that's okay. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Dan.
Sure. When Hansen sent out the email and invited me to this, I thought, well, hell yeah, I'm lonely. Absolutely. I'm a people person. I'm an extrovert. I love working from home, and my wife is amazing. My kids are great. And also I miss people. And so I thought this is going to be amazing. And what I loved about that exercise was I got to connect with Katya, and even just simply asking the question brought up emotions in me that I didn't realize even were there. So like that, I don't feel like I'm always lonely, but oh my goodness, connecting with another human was amazing. So I loved it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Beautiful, Dan. How about you, Charlie? And then Janelle.
I think Angel and I had something of a different experience because we adapted the language to say, what do you love about yourself? Because that felt like the strength of the word that we needed. And then we went off on a whole side tangent, learned that we're both musicians, and it was beautiful and abundant. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to ask someone.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Charlie. And I really like how you all amended the exercise. That's beautiful. Great. And Janelle.
One more.
Yeah. Right when you mentioned what we were doing, because I've done it once before, I like immediately started tearing up like, oh gosh, here we go. But when it came down to it, it wasn't as emotional. I think it's just that initial part, right? And no need to ask questions. My partner like gave the whole backstory in her appreciation story. It was pretty awesome.
How cool. Thank you. Thanks, Janelle. And I do want to quickly note, if that was challenging for you, that's normal. Because we don't very often, as I said, we don't very often highlight the things we appreciate about ourselves. So please don't feel badly. If you didn't have a great experience with that exercise, that's pretty normal. So thanks, everybody.
It's uncomfortable for me every time, but I love it every time, and it's super fun and rewarding. It feels so good afterwards. Thank you, Sarah. Everyone, please give a huge gratitude to Sarah for coming and leading that. And let's welcome Brian Mohr to the floor. Brian, give us a little background. Who are you? What do you do?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you're zooming in from. My name is Brian Mohr, as Hansen shared. I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called Anthem. We are a connection platform. We launched about 4 years ago at a fairly interesting time in human history that we've all been living through. And our purpose is to bring people closer together. We've chosen the workplace as our focus area, and we use music as an inspiration source to help us take a trip down the memory lane of our life, using music and songs to help us reconnect with moments, memories, time periods that have been really meaningful for us, as a way to help people break down walls and establish a very quick sense of connection that would otherwise be difficult to do, specifically in a remote or a distributed environment, which many of us are operating in these days.
Love it. And what motivates you to do what you do?
So, the gift that hindsight is for many of us, if not all of us, I think hopefully I can speak for most folks that, I'll speak for myself. I followed a prescription in life as I got into my career very, very early, many years ago, that it was all about climbing the ladder and life was about pursuing those material things. And what I've learned, having been around life's track a number of times, that the thing that matters most to me are the relationships that I carry with me. And given the amount of time that we all spend doing this thing called work, other than sleeping and eating, it's where the majority of us spend our waking hours. And so to miss out on the opportunity to create relationships, which are so crucial to our sense of joy and health in life, is such a missed opportunity. And I want to see that trend really reverse itself and prioritize relationships in the workplace. It's just a great opportunity for all of us.
Well, I think you went and answered my next question. Why is this topic important to you with that? So thank you. It's awesome having you here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your time with us. Go ahead and take the floor and let us know a little bit about your activity.
Yeah, so the activity, what we have found in the years that we've been doing this and conducting all kinds of workshops, both through Zoom or Teams, as well as in person, is music is this universal language that everybody understands. I've yet to meet anyone in my life that hates music. There are certainly those of us that might love it more than others, but everyone that I've run into so far, music has played a part of their life. And what we have found is orienting questions around music can quickly take us back to moments, memories, and time periods that are special to each of us. And so I've got two questions that we're going to use today. Question number one is, and it's one of my favorites, if I were lucky enough to visit a used car lot and was able to buy your very first car that you drove as a kid, whenever that was, what cassette or CD or music, if I were to turn on the radio, would I find still stuck in the stereo? That's question number one. Question number two, I want you to think of a special person in your life and a song, and what song connects you to that special person, whether they're still here with us or not. Why that song, and who is that person, and why are they so special to you in your life? And it's two obviously different questions that can immediately begin to evoke the things that we really value in our lives. One of them around the music that we listened to as a kid or earlier in life, and then the special person and the significance that music plays in your connection to that person.
I love it. And can you share your answers to those questions?
I'd be happy to. When I was a kid, so my very first car was a 1974 Oldsmobile Cutlass. It was a tank. And if you were to pop the cassette out of the player, you were lucky enough to buy that car, you would find Metallica's "And Justice for All" cassette. I was a swimmer in high school, and Metallica was the soundtrack of my high school experience. The music that connects me to a very special person. My wife and I met on a blind date back in the mid to late 90s when blind dates were still blind. We had no idea what each other looked like. And it happened to coincide with a particular concert that was happening in Chicago at the time by a band called Widespread Panic. And there's a particular song called Coconuts that immediately reminds me of that blind date. And we're about to celebrate our 25th anniversary here in a few weeks. So it was pretty successful. At least I'd say so.
All right, so let the tears start flowing. Love it. We're going to put Sarah in the hot seat, if you're up for it, Sarah. And Brian, you get to ask Sarah these questions.
Love it, love it, love it. So Sarah, if I were lucky enough to visit a used car lot and buy your very first car, what cassette, CD, or music would I find still stuck in the stereo?
Ooh, and my sporty little Ford Probe, and I don't remember what year it was. You probably would find Ben Folds 5, Whatever and Ever, Amen. That car was left in Chapel Hill, North Carolina when I moved across the country to San Diego, so I sold it then. And Ben Folds 5 is a Chapel Hill band, and I loved that album.
Love it, love it, love it. What was it? A cassette, a CD?
It was a CD. It was a CD.
Okay. Cool. I have to be careful with that question sometimes because some folks are now streaming exclusively, and it can be a little bit harder of a question to answer. And then I can't, of course, ignore some of the folks that might have been listening to 8-tracks, which are cool too. So second question, I want you to think of a song that connects you to a really special person in your life. What's the song and who's the person?
The song is "Isn't She Lovely" by Stevie Wonder. And he wrote it when his daughter was born. And I remember listening to it right when my daughter was born, and I could cry now thinking about it. Every time I hear it, I think of my 17-year-old as a little baby.
I love it. Amazing how fast 17 years can fly by too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As they say, the days are long, the years are short. Yeah.
Really.
Love that. Love it. Love it. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you playing along.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Well, my suspicion, Hansen, is we are about to go into the breakouts and allow everyone to engage. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, and there's a couple people that maybe came late or have to leave early, and so you may find a different friend, but hopefully you might be paired up with the same friend is the goal. So let's go share with each other our music and connection stories.
All right. Looks like everybody is starting to find their way back through the good old Zoom tunnels back here into the main room. So similar to Sarah leading us in a short reflection, would love if you'd be so kind to use the hand raise functionality on your Zoom toolbar down there on the control panel. If you'd hit your hand, there we go. Oh man, I do not want to mispronounce your name. Heonin? Bearable. I'm sorry. I butchered it.
Kevin, do you want to help him?
I can't do any better, Brian. I've been trying to say his name for 5 years now, and I can't. Right. So,
Okay.
but I didn't butcher it as bad as you did. So, no.
Thanks, Kevin.
Well, like I was in the breakout room with Steve Hayes. It's just like he told me that when he was with his friend, they drove around in a Honda, stick shift and windows. You have to roll it down, and then they drove up to a parking lot and played Beethoven's Ninth, 1987. Like I was just like, oh my, chick magnet.
Well, you can't leave us hanging now on how to pronounce your first name either.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Thank
you need to release the video. You like 6 minutes. You can't say my name. This was my.
Holly.
Sorry, trying to unmute. So I've been fortunate enough to done some of this with Brian before, and it's so amazing to watch the individual on the other side light up and the memories come fading back. So it's just, and there's always something you can find in music, and just to see the other person light up and have those stories is so it's beautiful. I love it. So it's great.
Thanks, Holly.
Always appreciate you, Brian.
Oh, thank you, Holly. Appreciate you as well. Thank you.
Good ones.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm curious, as you all embarked on that, perhaps one last question here, if anyone wants to volunteer their thoughts. As you got into the breakout room, obviously you had Sarah's amazing warm up. I'm curious if these two questions allowed you to travel perhaps very quickly and a little bit deeper into learning more about who your breakout room group was versus perhaps, what we might find is typical, like knowing what they do as opposed to who they truly are. Did anybody experience that, find commonalities and just that ability to go deep more quickly? Kelsey.
I was just excited when my friend in our breakout room shared her albums, because if you would ask me to guess which one she would share, I would not have guessed those. And when she did mention, Kelly, do you mind? Kelly was just like, I was listening to Snoop Dogg. I was like, what? And all of a sudden I felt like I understood your personality in a whole new way.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Hansen, if we have time for one more, great. If not, I'm going to turn it back over to you, my friend.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into our next guest. Welcome, Kindra Maples. And as every Zoom goes, there's always technical difficulties. And so bear with us as Kindra jumped over to her cell phone, which has better reception. So welcome, Kindra. Maybe give us a little intro about who you are, what you do.
Yeah. So just like, Sarah had the dog, I have the tech. We're just humans. My name is Kindra. I have a company called Culture Crush Business. And the company is focused around providing resources to companies for improving their company culture. So there was no hub of resources before. You go to Airbnb if you need a house, or Uber if you need a car. But where do you go when you need resources for improving company culture? And that's what we do.
Love that. And I'm so grateful that I got to meet you at the Culture Summit. Look where we are now. So what motivates you to do what you do, and especially related to this topic today?
Yeah. So my experience, I've been part of companies that had great culture, companies that didn't, companies where the teams were really, really connected, and then teams that were very, very, surface level. Okay, you knew their name, but you didn't really know anything past that. And I really feel like there is an opportunity now to go past what Giannis said in the beginning. Relationships have just become so transactional. And I feel like we're at an opportunity now where we can really get past that if we have the right tools and examples and lessons to know how.
Thank you. And I would love for you to introduce us to your activity today.
Yeah. So my background is actually in animal behavior and training animals. So folks that know me know that, training polar bears and training people, it's all really the same thing. And as I was working with animals and as I've transitioned with building teams, there are what I call the 5 C's. So the letter C, 5 C's when it comes to really deepening and building relationships. And you'll see them pop up in the chat. I mixed up the order a little bit today so that we can walk through them together. But we've got communication, consistency, compassion, connection, and cookies. I'll explain that one. Communication, just think of how you're communicating with people. Cell phones, Zoom. Are you writing a letter? Are you emailing? Are you texting? Think about how you're doing this, right? How are you communicating with friends, family, team members? That next one, consistency. How often are you communicating with people? How often do we hear about somebody and they're like, my uncle just passed away and I kept meaning to go visit him? You didn't. The consistency wasn't there. So think about that. The compassion piece, you have to have the heart. If you're just gonna be a Scrooge or be a Grinch and you want to be by yourself, then that's fine. But you got to have a little bit of compassion mixed into all of this to want to connect and build with people. And then the 2 that we're going to focus on is connection and cookies. Connection, when I say connection, I mean real connection, knowing that Brian has 2 amazing daughters, one that's at home and one that's not right now, one that's away at college in Tucson. And so you have to know and connect a little bit deeper. And then mixed in with that is this, what I call cookies. Sometimes it really means cookies. Like for me, I love Oreo cookies. But what that means is it's positive reinforcement. And Hansen, you and I were talking the other day, it's kind of like the 5 love languages. How do they want to receive that love? Not how you do, but how do they want to receive it? So those are the 5 C's. And what we're going to do, if you're ready, Hansen, can I bring Brian into the hot seat and we'll demonstrate first?
Yes. Your turn to hot seat, Brian.
Okay. So, Brian, with you in the hot seat, we're thinking about those last 2 in particular, connection and cookies, right? It's just positive reinforcement. So I want you to think about first the people in your life, your wife, your daughters, your co-founder, maybe some new teammates at Orange Theory. Pick one person and we're going to walk through and figure out what's one person that you really want to try and deepen your connection with and deepen your relationship. Just pick one of them and you can tell us who.
I will choose, I'm in a business forum and one of them, and we'll name him Dustin.
Okay.
I would like to continue to go deeper with from a connection standpoint.
Beautiful. So now as you're thinking about Dustin and everyone else, you're going to be doing this too. So start to think, who's that one person I really want to work on and deepen? And so, Brian, with Dustin, I want you to start to brainstorm what are some things about Dustin that you know that's deeper than, okay, he's in this forum, right? Think about kids, think about music. Really try and get into what are the things that you know about him. And now I want you to start to brainstorm that piece of deepening the connection and combine it in with this cookies, this positive reinforcement. How can you, and this will be your, your action plan for this week. How can you show him that you're trying to deepen that relationship and deepen that connection with some gesture? Is it writing a note? Is it inviting him somewhere? Is it sharing, something with him that he might be interested in? So with all of that I've thrown at you, let's walk through this for a second. Like, tell us about Dustin. What is something that he likes that maybe you can share with him or send to him or something like that?
Yeah, what immediately comes to mind is I know that he is a huge fan of outdoor activities. For example, one that he speaks about often is mountain biking. And what came to mind as you were walking through that is an opportunity for he and I to go for a bike ride, a mountain bike ride, preferably something that's very, very mild, since I would likely, I would be very susceptible to an accident. But to participate in an activity that I know he absolutely loves to do.
Beautiful. So now you're taking something he has passion for. You're connecting it with some piece of positive reinforcement. Let's go, let's do it. And the part that I really love is that you are wanting to do this with him, even though you're not this professional biker. That in itself, the vulnerability is going to really deepen and connect that relationship. So beautiful job. I love this. Now that's your action plan. So you have all of these people on here. We're all going to message you at the end of the week and be like, hey, did you reach out to Dustin about mountain biking?
Love it.
Beautiful. Okay. Hansen, I think we are ready. So when we go into our groups and our partners, this is really just an opportunity to kind of brainstorm. What is it that you can do, that you can share to really deepen and connect with somebody that's in your life right now?
Love it. Thank you, Kindra. And I think Hennessy's, we're ready to go. And Hennessy's is going to put in instructions. There you go. They're in the chat. And enjoy the breakout rooms, folks. We'll see you in 6 minutes or so. Let's find one person to share in the hot seat, share with Kindra and all of us how that went.
And I would love to, as you guys are sharing in the chat, share your ideas. Hansen just said he knew somebody went into the hospital, somebody sent a gift card for food, right? I had my dog pass away recently. A dear friend found out and right away sent a beautiful candle to my house. So put in the chat all these ideas that you guys have, and we'll all steal from them. But I would like one person that we can throw into the hot seat to share a little bit about how this went and what ideas they might have.
I see Charlie's hand. I'm sorry if there's someone else ahead of Charlie, but Charlie, you got the hot seat.
Oh, I'm willing to fill the silence, and if there's someone who hasn't contributed, I'm willing to contribute.
You're up.
Perfect.
You're up, Charlie.
I have a friend who I've met as a part of like a friend group in group environments. And I have this intuition that she and I would really get along. I sense like a wisdom in her. I know that she's really outdoorsy. So I'm going to invite her on a light hike with a view that's worth the hike.
I love this. So mountain biking, hiking, sending a gift card. You guys know that there's these things called letters. You put stamps on them, they go in the mail. That's always a really good option as well. So keep putting your ideas in the chat. We'll use them all. And thanks for walking through this with me.
Thank you, Kindra. And there's 5 C's, so that we only got a little taste of Kindra's exercise. It's actually like a 90-minute workshop. So keep an eye on Kindra's events and opportunities to learn from her. I appreciate you sharing that with us. We're done with the 3 activities, and just want to remind folks, like, these are activities that are each person, each panelist here has proven is helping their communities learn how to better connect. And now you can take these into your own work and put them in your own workout tool belt, if you will, in your routine. So We are wrapping up. Thank you for being here. Like I said, I'm going to stay on 15 minutes extra for folks to hang out and chat. But as we're wrapping up, one last little poll. I want to make sure we figure out what would be most helpful for you in staying connected, both with us, but also with your own in your own world, learning about connection and tools and resources that you might need. So one last final poll here before we break. And what connection resources would be helpful for you? So keeping connected with folks like us, or a copy of the activities from today, a tool to help build meaningful relationships, a video series featuring habits of the experts, like the panelists we have today, networking tips from the Networker newsletter, which is got a lot of research and awesome, just really quick anecdotes in a newsletter for what to do, or work with me and Covve and co-create something together. So you can select them all if you want to. They're only there because I created them, because those are the resources I like. So you can be like me and choose them all. But as we're doing that, we'll wrap up here. Just wanted to share a quick gratitude. Thank you for all being here. I know many of you personally. I'm excited to get to know the rest of you. But it really means a lot to me that you spent an hour with us and you care about this topic enough to be here and commit the time to it and learn together and go take this work into your communities. Let's keep going. I'm here to amplify your work, and let's heal from this loneliness epidemic. So thank you so much.